By the way, did you read that athletic story?
I was waiting for you to bring that up. Say your piece. Get it out. What do you got to say? He kind of body bagged you a little bit.
What's that?
He kind of body bagged you a little bit.
What did he say?
He said that the only reason you're critical of him is because you're best friends with Bryce Drew, which was hilarious to me.
Well, it's so funny because, like, he has no idea. Like, I swear, I think I've talked to Bryce Drew like 5 times in my life in person. Like,
I know, right? Like, you're best friends with Scott Drew. You're not best friends with the whole Drew family.
Right. I mean, just because I've talked a lot about Scott Drew means like the whole family. Like, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, the writer interviewed me for the story, and I'm trying to find, because there was
that Joe Rexroad that wrote it?
It was.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good, but he was a little too pro Stack in this thing. I thought it was a little bit too pro Stack.
Well, you might be a little bit too anti-Stack. So
no, I'm just real on Stack. He was a hell of a player. He sucks as a coach. How's that?
So I disagree with you on that point. In terms of like the on-court stuff and like what he's running and the offenses that they put in and the concepts.
That's only one part. But I'm not saying.
No, I know. What I'm saying is like the on-court stuff. Like, I actually think he's really good and really high level. The issue with Stack is like the recruiting part of it, the roster building part of it. Like that stuff is something that he probably needs to work on. But when it comes like to actual on-court actions that they're running, like they run really good stuff. Like his offenses are really high level. Like, you talk to coaches in the SEC and I think that most of them would probably agree.
All right, here's a quote. Here's a quote in the story. Get through it quick here. How am I not qualified when I play basketball at the highest level and played under some Hall of Fame coaches? I don't have the acumen to know what I'm looking for. What's the angst? And it becomes the things we see right in front of us, man. All I can say is 75 million people voted for Trump. That's all I can say. You ain't fooling me. I know what it's about. A lot of you hate everything we did when we came here about the staff, the diversity of the staff. It was this or that. And I like to think I know a little something about building teams and what organizations should look like. I've worked and played for some of the best organizations. Now, again, the thing that drew the ire of a lot of Vandy fans, and I've gotten a lot of emails and DMs here, is the comment that he basically made saying people are racist against him for hiring his staff, right? His staff, mostly black. What I will say to that is, for me, it had nothing, zero to do with color of skin with his staff, and more based on the fact that he got guys that had no experience in college basketball, no experience recruiting in college basketball. That's his downfall. Ultimately, like you said, Jerry Stackhouse's downfall is not a lack of understanding of how to coach X's and O's. His downfall is that he was a guy who had no experience in college basketball coaching. Then he hired one developmental guy from the G League that he took with him, another guy that was a Memphis high school coach. Like, what the hell are you doing? You don't hire a Memphis high school coach. You're not beating Memphis for any players. And the other part of that was, he started hiring David Grace, who's been around, and he fired him last year. But David Grace even didn't have this huge body of work dealing with academic kids. And that's what
David Grace was basically getting the Compton Magic kids to UCLA and to Cal.
Right. So like you put together a shitty staff for what you needed. I'm not saying each of these guys individually aren't good coaches. I'm saying this is not a staff that can win at Vandy, in my opinion.
Well,
and
that's the point that we made about Juwan Howard in Michigan, right? It was that we're never worried about the basketball stuff with Juwan Howard. It was the stuff that you have to deal with on the day-to-day of running a college like 75% of the shit you do as a college basketball coach has nothing to do with basketball. And look at that. So what did Juwan Howard go out and do? He hired a guy that's been a head coach for like 500 years in Phil Martelli to basically say, like, this is what you need to be able to do to handle shit.
He took one NBA guy, Howard Isley. He kept Saudi Washington. Like, so smart. Like, he didn't try to outsmart himself. And I think that's what Jerry Stackhouse did here. Instead of saying, like, all right, let me talk to everybody I know. I've done grassroots basketball. Let me talk to the coaches I know, and I'm going to get one or two guys that have experience recruiting academic kids. Number one, high-level academic kids. Who can that be? I'll pay him a lot of money. Whatever I got to do to get him, I'll get him. Instead, he tried to outsmart himself. And again, this comment, and he took some shots at me like, dude, I care. Like, I really give a shit what you think about me. I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter, Rob. Like I care if I have a relationship with Jerry Stackhouse. They're irrelevant. They're so irrelevant. I haven't had a relationship with John Calipari for 12 years, and I've been just fine. Like, not having to, like, I need recruiting news or something about Vandy.